أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله seeking refuge with Allah from the shaitan, the rejected enemy of mankind, with Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. We're openly acknowledging that Allah is the one God. There are no partners with Allah. And Prophet Muhammad, prayers and peace be upon him, is a servant and messenger of Allah. Greetings of peace to everyone. As this is, we say Sunday for day one, and it is February 15, February 15, 2026. And it is also uh, the 26th or 27th, excuse me, 27th. Yes, it is also the 27th of Sha'ban, 1447. 27th of Sha'ban, 1447. And wanting to share a little bit about, I'm Martha Nailah Wms Abdullah, and I'm getting us prepared for the ending of A New Day for Al Islam Community Radio Quick Hitters uh, snapshot. Quick Hitters is with Kivel Equon, William Kareem, the executive producer of A New Day for Al Islam Community Radio. On Sundays, we always do the Quick Hitters part with the sports wrap up, primarily basketball of the National Basketball Association, NBA. What what is happening? Who's who's rising? What the competition looks like? The colleges that are the stars or individuals that are emerging from college, going into NBA, and then while being the stars, the beginners of the NBA, different individuals get more into what they are doing on the floor, their character, their morale, the team morale, their individual scorings or statistics, and then what they're doing in their personal life, and how their moral character connects with their efficiency as a player, how they execute, how they've really given themselves to training to be the best in the sport that they've connected with. And the relationship building, the leadership styles from the coaches, and those coaches are representatives that have played in this arena or in this sport themselves. So what we're seeing is, yes, we look at it as a sport, but what we're seeing is the caliber of people that are relating to one another, and the leadership, a connection between the coaches and the players, and then the players' leadership style as a team player, but they're each a leader. And as we are, as spectators, as we are watching them, we're seeing the motivation, that the motivation is more than the dollars that they receive. Yes, they get paid to present, but we can see that the motivation, perhaps it may be dollars in the back of their mind, but they know that their skill, their experience that's coming from college or from high school, the experience that they have acquired, the training that they have allowed themselves to connect with, to enhance what their experience has been. And then the knowledge base, knowing about basketball, knowing the rules, the regulations, and knowing the character that it takes to maintain your demeanor, to maintain your uh, character when you feel you've been offended by another player, another team player of an opposite team. that is competing for the same thing that each individual is competing for the same opportunity, and that is to be seen for their due diligence on the floor, the basketball floor. So, as they may love the accolades, the players may love the accolades that we give them, the support that we give them, the support from their family, we as fans, and then the family first, of course. They have to have an individual structure mentally, emotionally, and they have to have a belief system that supports them in their emotions and their mindset, that helps generate their experience and help generate their training and help generate their knowledge. All right. So this is uh, how I look at the players in sports, and as I stated, from college and from high school. Um, I love watching sports, but I watch for the character of the person as they are achieving their goal of being a player recognized for their talent. And we know that the talent comes from the creator. And so perhaps they're not saying it, but they're displaying it. They're displaying their approach to being a true human being. So we're going to hear some comments now, as you will hear in the background from Kivel Equon and William Kareem. And I may give a few comments every now and then, but I'm enjoying, I'm enjoying the whole camaraderie. All right. So I'm going to step out of the way and let you know that this is Cultural Insights. Yes, and the promotion of sports, cultural insights. Yes, it's one part of our culture. And appreciatively, I know you understand. Okay. Thank you for being here with us on the number one Islamic Broadcasting Network, American Muslim 360. Again, I'm Martha Nailah Wms Abdullah, and it gives me great pleasure to be here. And today, Cultural Insights, all about sports right now. And look forward to at 12 noon, we will connect with Florida Conference of Muslim Americans, where we will then connect with civic engagements. All right. Thank you once again. Assalamu alaikum.
See, he's playing, and already he's made an impact. I believe they've won the two games that he's played in, and he's done an excellent job of helping those big guys, Jared Allen and Eric Mobley, Evan Mobley, to really, take their games to another level, but also freeing up Donovan Mitchell, who is the Cleveland star, to really be able to just be the scoring option that he is, and he becomes more effective with James Harden kind of controlling the way in which the game flows. Harden is excellent as a point guard.
Well, as far as Sister Martha, I'm just asking this question. If you have anything you'd like to add, please, you can jump in. But as far as because there was a lot that was in the gossip column about James Harden, about him, the contract that he was going to get, or whether that he wanted to go, and all the rest of that.
Yeah.
The stats, as far as that's concerned, did he have that contract or the same contract? How does that go?
So the thing is that James Harden has a history of being able to move himself out of teams where he doesn't feel as though he'll be able to make the most money. And so the issue with the Clippers, where the Clippers were 17-4 over 21 games before he was traded, was that he wasn't able to get the management to agree to give him an extension on his contract. And for him, as we've seen in multiple iterations of James Harden and his movement around the league, it becomes about how much money he can make. And it's not a disrespect to him, it's the business of basketball. And so he wants to make as much money as he possibly can before he inevitably has to retire. He is 36 years old and is on the back end of his career. And he wanted the Clippers to give him an extension, probably 2 to 3 years at a particular price. Not feeling that he was going to get that, he was traded from the Clippers to Cleveland, where Cleveland has a better chance of actually moving towards a title this year. The Clippers were going to be a play-in team, meaning a team that was at the bottom of the standings in the West. And so they would have had to fight a whole lot harder to get themselves in a position to win a championship. By him going to Cleveland, he's put himself in a position, as we spoke a little bit earlier about, Detroit, Boston, Cleveland, and Detroit, Boston, Cleveland, and the Knicks are in kind of like a tight race where they're possibly Cleveland in a position where they could win the Eastern Conference and maybe compete for a championship. James Harden may be that piece that helps Cleveland jump over that hurdle and possibly be able to compete. So again, he not only wanted the money, but he also wanted an opportunity to compete for a championship, and he's going to probably get both, better positioning himself in Cleveland.
Does he have a ring?
No, he doesn't. And so again, that's the only thing that is missing from his legacy. He's done a lot of things in the NBA, but missing the ring, as we know, for many of the players who we've seen over the years who have been great players, without that ring, it does leave a hole in your legacy.
And they bring it up, too. They will bring it up.
And they will bring it up. So
they bring it up on Charles Barkley all the time on that show, man, with Shaq.
All the time. And Kenny Smith, who was nowhere near a superstar in the NBA, has 2 championships and can talk reckless to Charles Barkley because he has rings and Barkley doesn't.
And Assalamu alaikum.
So let's move on. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to inject when you mentioned Kenny's name, but he was our 3-point guy, so I guess he stands tall in that arena. You were mentioning.
Which one for my?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Miami or who? Which one?
Kenny.
For which team?
Oh no, when he
was on the Houston Rockets.
Houston Rockets, yes, definitely.
What I'm saying is our team. What team? You from Florida?
I know, but I love my Houston Rockets. A lot, Hakeem Olajuwon and all of them.
At that time.
Yes. Well, I wanted to point to real quickly the leadership when you're speaking about a young man who's gone from team to team. What's James Harden, and I love watching him. He's like cool as a cucumber when he touches his beard and after he's just done a beautiful shot. But to as you said, no ring. It shouldn't affect his leadership. But I think as each player retires, and that's what sticks with them too, their moral character, how they displayed that on the court, and two. The Utah Jazz was another one that the mailman did not get a ring. I'll stop right there.
Right. Yeah. Yes, and there have been great players like Patrick Ewing who did not get a ring. When you talk about players like let's say Alonzo Mourning, who wound up getting a ring on the back end, but during the time of Michael Jordan, during the time Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. There were many players, Chris Webber, Vlade Divac, guys who were extremely incredible players.
Oh, Chris Webber didn't get a ring?
Vince Carter.
I thought
Allen Iverson. All of these guys who were never able to receive a championship ring, though they were great players. That's the whole. And I think James Harden, once again, is an individual who's seeking the ring. If he gets the ring, it solidifies his legacy in a different way. Let's move forward real quick to talk about the highlights of the weekend, the All-Star weekend, really quickly, as we only have about 8 more minutes. The highlights of the weekend, man, with the Rising Stars game, the future is bright, and the Young Stars, they did show out with VJ Edgecombe in the last 2 games of the Rising Stars Challenge, was able to hit 10 points in a row to bring his team to the championship game, where he played against the team of Vince Carter. Vince Carter and Carmelo Anthony were the coaches of the Rising Stars teams. And it went down to the wire. The score was 24-23, with DJ Edgecombe driving to the basket against Donovan Clingan.
Mm-hmm.
Fouled DJ Edgecombe as he went to the basket.
Mm-hmm.
And DJ Edgecombe hit the 2 free throws in order to end the game and win it for Vince Carter. And it was really a great showing for DJ Edgecombe, who again is a rising star in the NBA, who plays for the Philadelphia 76ers. In the skills challenge, the New York Knicks were able to come back against the I believe it was a team from the Spurs, which had Ron Harper, who played in the NBA for many years with the Lakers and with the Chicago Bulls, winning 5 NBA championships. Mm-hmm. But it was really dope to see him with 2 of his sons. One of his sons plays for the Boston Celtics, and the other was the 2nd overall draft pick in 2025, Dylan Harper, who plays with the Spurs. Again, both teams are in contention for conference championships at the moment. So it was wonderful to see Ron Harper out there with his sons trying to compete. But the Knicks, with Jalen Brunson, Cat Williams, not Cat Williams, Karl Anthony Towns, and Allen Houston, the great Allen Houston, one of the best shooters to ever play in the NBA, also a Knick legend, were able to beat them out to win the skills challenge. The 3-point competition, excellent, all the way down to Damian Lillard and Devin Booker. Damian Lillard hadn't been playing all season, but they allowed him to play compete in the 3-point championship, and he put on a show along with Devin Booker. Damian Lillard shot first in the championship round, scoring 29 points in his round, and then Devin Booker, amazing shot maker, all the way down to the last rack. He had 3 opportunities to beat Damian Lillard's score and missed all 3 shots. And Damian Lillard walked out of there as a 3-time 3-point competition champion. Great performance, really incredible. Tonight, though, we have the All-Star game, which will showcase all the great stars. It will be, I'm sure, impressive and keep your attention. Hopefully keep everyone's attention with a great effort from all the great stars like Wembanyama, Karl Anthony Towns, Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Edwards, some of the best players in the NBA. That starts at 5 p.m. tonight. So, again, wonderful stuff. And I'm hopeful, man, that, we get a great ending. And as we exit All-Star Weekend, we'll see who winds up being the folks who compete. I will say this real quick, and I'll give you guys the last word. And then, Pop, before we transition, Sister Martha and yourself can give some brief summary of things that are going to be coming up on American Muslim 360, as well as Cultural Insights and New Day Community Radio. I want to mention this one team that you guys should check out, and it's the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets have been on an 11-1 run over the last 12 games. They have put themselves in a position to get into the play-in, which is the final 4 teams in the conference get a chance to play for the last playoff spot, the 8th spot in the playoffs. And these guys have found some kind of chemistry. They have LaMelo Ball, who is an incredible point guard, who has, his game is so unorthodox, but he is so free in his game. He is such an exciting player to watch. They have Brandon Miller, who is a 6'10" shooting guard, who is exciting to watch play. He can shoot. He can play defense. He's athletic. It's incredible to watch. And they have a young man who comes out of Duke named Kareem Kivel, who is 19 years old. And we did not expect this young man to be good. It's just Kareem Kivel a memorable game, and he has a memorable game. This young man has been shooting the lights out. He is on the way to beating and breaking the all-time rookie record in three-point shots made. As he's been just destroying teams with his ability to score. It has been amazing to see these young men. If you get a chance, watch the Charlotte Hornets game. I think you will be excited in what you see. With that being said, let me pass the microphone over to you guys so that you can give a brief summary of some of the things that are coming up before we jump into the Let's Talk real quick here on the Quicken Digital Experience.
It's just, well, all I would like to say is this here that I was trying to say something about the Super Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl was super boring. That's what it was. It was Super Bowl was super boring. I know, and we talked about people spending their money, because they think that there's going to be some level of excitement. Man, this was like the worst Super Bowl that has ever been played. In my humble opinion, it was the worst. And I just think that the quarterback that was on the New England Patriots, I just think he just froze. I think he froze. I mean, it was like he was like a deer in headlights. That's the only way that I could say it. He was like a deer in headlights. Sister Martha?
Yes, as I have to exit, I thank Allah for everyone and all that we do here on New Day for Al Islam Community Radio and America Muslim 360. We're going over to civic engagement with the Florida Conference of Muslim Americans. But onto the sports part, yes, it was super boring. I love that identification of it. It well, it didn't razz me. So, and I was surprised how they got there. So I'll leave it right there on the table. But to my basketball teams, I'm definitely onto college. I love watching the college sports and seeing how they come in. And I was watching the Olympics. I should be honest on that. That was my take over this weekend. Kivel, Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. So, we're getting ready to transfer over. It's like,
Okay, everyone, we're going now over to let's see here, Florida Conference of Muslim Americans.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound. You entered 82445037771. This meeting ID does not exist. Please re-enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum assalam.
Enter your participant ID followed by pound.
My sister.
Enter the meeting passcode followed by pound.
One moment. 6.
You are in the meeting now. There are 13 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded.
And everyone, we're connecting with the Florida Conference of Muslim Americans, the United Talim.
Alhamdulillah Rabbi Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim.
This call will be recorded.
Alaykum Ameen. And that was the Fatiha, the opening surah in the Quran in Arabic, and it reads in English, in the name of God, most gracious, most the dispenser of grace. All praise is due to God alone, the sustainer of all the worlds, the most gracious, the dispenser of grace, Lord of the day of judgment. Thee alone do we worship, and thee alone do we turn for aid. Guide us to the straight way, the way of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy blessings, and not of those who have been condemned by thee nor of those who go astray. Amen. welcome one and all to the Florida Conference of Muslim Americans, or SMA, third Sunday call. This is a conversation that we've held continuously since August of 2020. It's a conversation that stems out of the need during the pandemic to kind of allow a platform for our community to connect with one another and to share knowledge and information that is useful for each other's benefit. SMA actually has two meeting touch points. We meet every first Sunday of the month to kind of go over the business of SMA, if you will, and then also share each other's calendars and support one another around the state. SMA is a conduit organization that connects the masses and Islamic centers around the state of Florida that share within the community of Imam W. Muhammad, Allah be pleased with him and have mercy on the soul. And then on these calls, we actually connect and pair with the Community-wide Shura Council and their media platform to kind of broadcast these conversations nationwide. And so today we have essentially two guests joining us today to share some knowledge and information as relates to community security from their different perspectives. I will let Imam Kareem Ali, you can bring and share the background for Chief Holloway. And then Imam Salim, when the brother joins us in Jacksonville, you can, when the time is right, you can come and share his background. The format, so we do have two speakers. We'll do roughly about 10 minutes each speaker, which will take us to the bottom of an hour. And then we'll open the floor for Q&A, because I think that's probably the best exchange where we have questions and can share with one another and learn from one another, if you will. So without further ado, Imam Kareem Ali, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And to all our FCMA members for the Conference of Muslim American, we say Assalamu alaikum, and to our friend and our dear brother, Chief Holloway, we say God peace be with you, and thank you so much for joining us today. And Chief Holloway had a very lengthy bio, which I will not go over today because we'll be sometime, sharing all of his bio. I would just say he's married to an attorney in the city of Clearwater. In the city of Clearwater there, he's been in law enforcement, started back in 1985 in the city of Clearwater. 2007, he was the chief of police for Sumterville, Massachusetts there. 2010, he returned to the city of Clearwater as chief of police. In August of 2014, he became and currently the chief of police for the city of St. Petersburg. Very educated man, on the bachelor's degree, and also a master's degree in business administration. Chief Holloway is very busy, they're well educated, well known. He's also in training. He trained law enforcement training for national and international government, military, and education, and also community organization. Chief Holloway, we're very honored. When we invited him, he said he will be honored to speak to us, but we are honored to have you as well as other guests, President Mubarak, to speak to us today. So without any further ado, Chief Holloway, thank you so much, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction, and thank you very much for inviting me here and having this dialogue with your group. Mine's going to be very brief because really, you probably have more questions than I can probably answer for you because, number one, I'm married to a lawyer, but I'm not a lawyer, so I can only tell you what is before me. So I'll start off by saying effective September the 26th, 2005, a law came into effect that banned open carry. So what that means? That means now people are allowed to carry their guns in the open in public space. Now, a private property owner like a grocery store, retail, restaurants, they can prohibit a person from carrying a weapon onto their property. Just like if a person had a concealed weapon, as a private owner, you still can tell someone that he or she cannot bring that weapon onto your property. If that person does carry that gun onto your property and you contact the police, that person could possibly be charged with armed trespass. So the best thing to do is tell everybody to, if they need more information, that they can look online or look on Florida State Statute 790.06, 790.10. Again, that's 790.06 and 790.10. And to make it very simple is wherever you can carry a concealed firearm, that means you can also carry it openly. So a lot of people are getting confused with that, and you cannot carry, just because you have the right to carry, you cannot carry the gun in a rude, careless, reckless manner or in a threatening manner. So that really just comes out. You can walk down the street with it, but if you're carrying it in a rude, careless, or angry manner, then again, you could be charged with that. So, and also, if you're a felon, you cannot carry a firearm. And again, ammunition if you have an injunction. So again, it's the same law that applies to if you could have a license for carrying a concealed weapon. All that does, it just says now you can carry it in open. But the main thing that people get confused on is that you have a right to say no to someone bringing that weapon onto your property, i.e., any religious facilities or any private place of business or worship. You can't tell a person no, they cannot carry it. And I'll end it right there.
Question on that last point about the religious places. So is it a blanket no, meaning no one can carry, or can say, hey, only identified security officers can carry on premise, everyone else, no? Like, how does that, and then what notification do you need to provide for something like that?
You need to tell a person when he or she comes onto your property or religious facility that they cannot have a gun on that property. Your own security can carry a gun because it's your property. You can carry a weapon on your property. If you want to be at your house, you can carry a gun. So it's just that you have a right to say who can and cannot carry a weapon on private property.
Got it.
But if we have to remind people, if you're a convicted felon, you're not supposed to carry a weapon, or you got an injunction against you, you shouldn't be having a weapon because that is against the law.
Assalamu alaikum. Martha Nailah here. And thank you, Chief Holloway, and thank you, Florida Conference of Muslim Americans. My question then comes to law enforcement coming onto into a religious facility for prayerful services, just imagining. And then how would a person be found out that they are a felon? If they're, is it a certain approach that individuals get questioned if they're carrying, open carry?
Well, that's very, and thank you for the question. So if you've gone to jail and been convicted of a felony, then you will know that you are a convicted felon. We don't know that until we make contact with you, so there's no way law enforcement can know. But the individual, he or she, should know if they've been convicted of a felony.
And the part of the police officer attending services?
And also, he or she can carry a gun anywhere they want to carry a gun in the state of Florida, but you still have the right to tell me, I'm a police officer, you can tell me not to bring my gun onto your property, and I cannot bring it on your property. A good example here in the Tampa Bay area, a lot of officers go to the Buccaneers game, and we're not allowed to carry our guns into the stadium.
That's good to know.
Even when you're on duty, or I get as a private citizen, but even if you're on duty, like when the guys are on the field, etc.
If they're working, yes, they can carry the weapon, but if they're off duty, I cannot carry them. To the stadium, to a hockey game, to a baseball game. I'm a normal citizen. Just because I'm a law enforcement officer, when I'm off duty, if you tell me no, I cannot carry a weapon, then that means no, I cannot carry my weapon onto your property.
Is post notification sufficient? You have to physically tell everyone
What we told people here in St. Petersburg is the best thing is to post it so people know before they go inside your business, so they'll see it. Like no weapons allowed here. So that's kind of like already giving them the notification. But I don't know how other cities or counties are handling theirs, but that's what we have decided.
Okay, got it. Thank you. That's a good distinction.
Assalamu alaikum.
To follow up on that question, if the police is on duty, can they bring the weapon into the building? Are they allowed to just say no? Is that sufficient for them if they're on duty?
If they're on duty, then they have to carry the weapons at all times for your security and your security, because they're acting as a police officer at that time. So he or she will come onto your property with their gun. You cannot tell them if they're working, they can't come onto your property without their gun.
What you say, she does kind of act as free security, even though you may have security there, but when someone is on duty, they come in to your property, whatever, they're on duty, they can carry a weapon. That's kind of like free security there.
That is correct.
Alhamdulillah. And certainly we know
religious house of worship has a in-house security team. Then, since they own the property, they're allowed to carry.
Yeah, you're on private property, so you can say who you want to carry a weapon on your property. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
But again, I don't know what your I would say check with your lawyer and check with your local police department or sheriff's office. Again, I only can speak for what's Pinellas County and St. Pete, but that's what we're telling everybody. And again, just double check with your lawyer just to make sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think, Sister Nailah, if I heard you correctly, so I want to rephrase a question that you may have phrased. And forget the buzz terms, but I think it gets to the point. Warrantless searches, like what's allowed, what's not allowed.
Sure. So again, that comes down to a lawyer. So warrantless is if I have probable cause or reasonable suspicion, I'm in look at you for I stop you for this way putting it. I stop you for running a red light. And during that period of time when I stop you for running that red light, you have a warrant for your arrest. Then I have the right to search the immediate area for my safety carry-on document for weapons and anything like that. Other than that, I cannot just stop you and start searching you unless I have reasonable suspicion. You just can't just search someone for no cause. You have to be a suspect or a subject to be searched. Like, sir, I could not just come up to you and say, can I see your driver's license? And you hand it to me and says, well, I'm going to search you to see if you have a gun. Well, I have to have a predicate to that, meaning, am I being told that because someone said you to threaten someone? Or what else goes with that for me to do a search?
All right.
And I definitely have no right to search your home without a warrant.
This is Akil Muhammad Akil. Welcome, Chief Holloway, and we want to applaud you and the department for the excellent job that I believe that you do in doing everything you can to ensure public safety as you balance constitutional rights and freedoms. It's interesting that we're having this discussion in part because some of us on the line will remember back in the day in the old Nation of Islam, everybody got searched when they came in the building. You couldn't have a pocket knife on you. You literally got patted down. And we were encouraged not to carry weapons, even though a number of the members were military veterans. Some of them were combat veterans, trained in, were combat veterans, of course, trained in handling weapons. And but even in those instances, They were discouraged from even owning weapons, and certainly from carrying them, and totally prohibited from bringing them to the temple. At that time, our places of worship were called temples, and you were patted down when you entered the place of worship. I think the pendulum is swinging, and you know yourself in enforcement and in legal interpretation based upon the judge's rulings. Pendulums can swing back and forth to some extent or another. But again, we thank you and thank the department for the excellent job that you are doing. I know that violent crimes in St. Petersburg are down, even though there have been one or two instances in the last few days. But is that correct? That statistically the numbers are down? And do you find the department issuing significant number of warrants or making arrests for violations of carry laws?
So crime is down in the city of St. Petersburg. Matter of fact, the homicides are at a 5-year low. It's down by 44%. This is the lowest it's ever been. I think somebody said within the last 30 to 40 years that a homicide has been this low. We have solved every homicide case in our city except for one with an arrest. We're just waiting to get information back from the court, so we probably will solve all of them in the past 3 years. We have not seen any issues with open carry. When it first came out, we thought we were going to see a lot of people with open carry. We've only probably maybe ran into like 3 or 4 people, if that, that have been carrying. And we just, as long as they're obeying the law, there's nothing we can do. I'm glad you brought that up because we've had incidents where people will see someone, like say, on the sidewalk. So your place of worship, the temple, if someone is on the sidewalk, and again, remember, they're not acting in anger or they're not threatening anyone and the other things I told you, then there's nothing we can do. So if you were to call us and say, hey, there's a gentleman or a woman outside our temple on the sidewalk with a weapon, open carry, as long as they don't come onto your property, there's nothing law enforcement can do.
Follow-up question to that. If I recall correctly, reports of national statistics seem to indicate that there is increase in the volume of hate crimes. And we likewise see an increase in some areas of the country, at least Minneapolis, Minnesota being one example, not the only one, where there are protests involved. And in Minneapolis, an individual who was protesting, who was licensed to carry and did not appear to be carrying, based upon what we witnessed, the videos and all, did not appear to be carrying in any threatening manner, ended up, first of all, was shot, number one. And then some of the officials indicated, well, if you're going to come to a protest, don't bring a weapon, license or not. So, I mean, and oftentimes, as you know, based upon social media in general, media in particular, misinformation, disinformation can spread from place to place. We're not experiencing any of those kinds of things to any significant degree in St. Petersburg, Pinellas County that you are aware of, right? Where you have hate crimes and threats against places of worship or against different segments of the population, or questions as to whether or not people are protesting lawfully or unlawfully bearing arms.
And again, thank you for the question.
This call is no longer being recorded.
To my knowledge, no, we have not arrested anyone here in St. Petersburg for that. Again, the person, and again, I can't speak for what happened in Minnesota because I wasn't there, but I can just tell you, the person here, they can carry a weapon during protest, as long as, again, they're not acting rude, careless, or in an anger manner, or threatening manner. They're allowed to carry that weapon. Hate crimes, we didn't see a spike in that, but when we mean by a spike in that, maybe last year we had 2, and this year we had 3, or something like that. So we're not seeing double-digit reports of hate crimes in our city.
Great, thank you.
the Lacey Umar here, Melbourne.
Also, and I know we get ready to hear from our second speaker there, but also just like to thank you. I may have my skills pointed out, but in St. Petersburg, each quarter you bring faith leaders, faith representatives together, the police department, our house, to kind of give us a report of things that are taking place in our city. And that's very helpful. So we would love to commend you for doing a wonderful job. And I would just say, not both sitting and bragging, but chiefs of police throughout not only the state of Florida, but throughout the country. If you're not number one, you're certainly up there with those who are doing a great and wonderful job. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for that compliment. I enjoy working with everyone here because that's the way we're going to solve issues is by working together.
I'd like to ask a question.
Question to Chief.
Okay.
Yes. Do I have a right if I'm driving in my car and I'm stopped? I don't carry a weapon at all. If I'm driving in my car and I'm stopped by law enforcement, do I have to obey everything that they say? Maybe open my door and put my window down? Or?
I tell everybody yes, because that's not the time or the place to have court. If they tell you to, step out of your car and show them your driver's license, I say do that because that's what I do. And then afterwards, then you can ask questions. Why did you do that to me? Do you do that to everyone? If you don't do it to everyone, why did you make me so special on this date and time?
Thank you. Yeah, that was actually a good question. I was thinking something similar.
Am I being heard?
De-escalation, because things seem to escalate quickly, one way or another. Either the person themselves, where they interact with law enforcement, just sends it over the top, and then vice versa. And I was wondering if you had any, in addition, advice you would share that we can keep in mind as how we can de-escalate situations, and then more importantly, help the officer de-escalate the situation themselves.
And then we have Delacey Umar.
What was that?
Yeah.
Delacey,
I have a question.
Delacey Umar wants to ask a question after yours.
Yes. Okay, thank you for that. So, Chief Holly, you can address mine, and then we'll address MM Delacey, and then we'll shift to the speakers. If you don't
Can I have a question before we shift?
Yes. Yes. Welcome.
We have time. We have time. We have. Go ahead.
I'm going to answer that. Yes, I tell everybody the best way to de-escalate is to pay attention to what the officer he or she is telling you, and then afterwards, then you can start asking your question because every officer has a body camera. So if they were asking you to get out of the car, get out of your car, give your driver's license. Because remember, they're trying to go home safe, and you're trying to go home safe. So the best way to do it is everybody just pay attention to what's going on, and then after everything is said and done, then ask for a supervisor, and then ask for a copy of the body camera footage, so you can see exactly what went on. Again, I'll use our policy because that's what our community wants. Our cameras are on at all times. So when an officer, when he or she stops you, we call it a roll. It goes back 30 seconds. So if I say you ran a stop sign, well, when I turn on my camera, it went back 30 seconds to show me, did you really run that stop sign or did I make it up? And then the officer, when he or she has to keep the camera on at all times until the contact is over or until the person is in custody. So again, I would say follow their instructions. When you're done, if you have any questions, then you can ask for a supervisor or go to the police department, ask for a supervisor and a copy of the tape.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. I'm Delacey.
Yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
What else is the question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, okay, Delacey, go ahead. I apologize.
Yes, welcome, Chief. We appreciate you coming and sharing the information. I had two questions. Actually, one is, could you give us some recommendations on the amount of security that the police, public police is obligated to provide if there is a threat, as Skill mentioned, Imam Skill mentioned, and if there's a threat or possible threat to a religious place, and what amount of security the religious place itself needs to provide. And I did hear a legal person say that you can also, this is a separate issue. And a legal person also said you can ask the officer, am I free to leave? And if he's not intending to retain you, then he should allow you to leave. Is that correct?
Last question first. Yes, you can ask the officer, am I free to go? And then he or she can tell you, no, you're not free to go because of X, Y, and Z. They have you, or you, why are you detaining? Don't escalate it, then just stand there and go through the conversation. Then afterwards, then ask for a supervisor, go to the police department and ask for a supervisor. To your first question, again, I can speak for the Tampa Bay area. We have what's called the Tampa Bay Regional Intelligence Center. Whenever we receive a threat about a temple or any religious facility in our area or anything against anyone, we share the information with Hillsborough County, Pasco County, Pinellas County, because we want each other to know. If they're talking about threatening a temple over in Tampa, then maybe that person changed his mind and decided to come over to St. Pete. So all that information is shared. Then we share that with our imams or the people that are in charge of religious facility to see, to make them aware of the threat. And then we also, again, speaking for St. Pete, then we do what's called an extra patrol. Then I will have my officers go by either every hour on the hour or every half an hour doing the services to make sure there is a police presence. Or I'll tell the officer when he or she is doing a report, and they just can park outside the temple while they're writing their report.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. And then Claudia, you had a question.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Thank you so much, and again, welcome. We appreciate your presence here. I just wanted confirmation. If I'm riding, since it's open carry now, I can ride either in the city or even on a road trip through Florida with my gun on my passenger seat openly. No problem?
That is no problem, but I would tell you, just like I told my family member, when an officer comes up on you, put your hand on the wheel, tell the officer that that gun is there, because I don't want them seeing that you motioned or you went toward that weapon and they felt like they were in fear of their life, and that's why they shot you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Kareem, before yours again.
Yeah. Okay. Chief Holloway, you know, we refer to each other as brothers. So you are a brother. You are the chief of police in our wonderful city. You're my chief and my friend. But we refer to you as our brothers. And we thank you again for coming to be with us today on behalf of our convener of the Wali Salahuddin, who's our convener, and all the members from Florida Conference of Muslim America. Thank you so much for sharing the wonderful information that you shared with us. We greatly appreciate that. We been only advice, and we try to follow this advice to 1975 to the present day of time. We've been told by Imam W.B. Muhammad, who is the son of Elijah Muhammad, that we should be a citizen. And we're a citizen of our town, our city, our state, etc. We're American citizens. So we should obey the law, and long as the law don't prevent us from practicing our faith, we should obey the law. And that's what we try to do. And we thank you again for sharing this wonderful information. It's been very helpful. And may God continue to bless you and your family, as well as your community, for the police department for doing such a wonderful work. Thank you so much. God, peace be with you.
Thank you. Thank you for putting me into the brotherhood. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you so much. And now, there's a fee for being a part of the brotherhood. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Chief. Alhamdulillah. At this time, Brother Bilal, is Brother Makia, is he ready? If so, then would you please introduce him? And so he can make his remark, 10-minute remark.
Yes, I think he's online, and I think the best person to introduce him would be himself. And one of the questions that the sister asked, he gave us a training on it, which was very informative to most of us who are veterans and carry guns. And I hope he elaborate on that today about the reaction between a gun and the police officer. And without delay, I'll let him take it from there. Mubakia, assalamu alaikum.
Okay. Well, assalamu alaikum, everybody. I'm at the gun range right now because I have to requalify. But I am former law enforcement. I am currently a licensed private investigator and a licensed security officer. I do public safety. Okay. I protected Imam Muhammad for 20 years. Okay. I qualified and I stay up on all the changes in the law. One thing is right now we should have some of these changes that are done with this open carry discussed so that people know and understand, okay, exactly what is required and exactly how much, okay, you're allowed to do. But in the state, there are states, okay, if you have a concealed weapon license in this state, you can travel to about 35 other states that reciprocate with Florida. But you have to know the law in each state or you'll be in jail. Now, when I say that, okay, Michigan reciprocates with Florida. But in Michigan, you cannot go into a bank, okay, with your concealed weapon. That's not the same in every state. It's what's particular in that state. In the state of Florida, okay, if a police officer stops you and you do not have to tell him that you are carrying a weapon or that you have a concealed weapon. Now, you don't lie to him. If he says you have a weapon, you say yes. But what I'm saying is you don't have to let him know that, okay, you have a weapon. Now, if you are riding through North Carolina, where that is the law, okay, when a police officer stops you, you have to tell him, okay, I have a concealed weapon on me or in the car, okay, and but I would not mention it if I didn't have to, like in the state of Florida, because now you put the police officer on a whole nother state of alert that he really doesn't need to be on. And if there's a problem, if he's going to talk about you rolled through a red light or something, then okay, let him give you the ticket and keep going. And don't argue at that particular moment. If you think you have been wrong, this is not the time for debate. This is the time to move on. You can always hire a lawyer. You can always go to court and contest it. But if you two have a difference of opinion that night, let it rest as a difference of opinion and go home safely. Okay? But I am, I'm taking class right now, but I am going to put something together, okay, for everybody, just general information and safety information, so that people will actually know these are the do's and the don'ts. The other thing is, you get your concealed weapon, okay, is a very good idea. Now, in the state of Florida, it makes no difference if you have it or not, because even to carry openly, you would have to abide by everything that
a concealed weapon person would. So it's exactly the same. The only benefit to you is now if you want to travel to other states, you can take your weapon with you, okay? And since they reciprocate, okay, it's a privilege and a right. So I don't know. I would say within the next 60 days, I can put something together for everybody. And it would do just general information, but I think would help people on the do's and the don'ts. And as far as the mass kid goes, when they shot up the Pittsburgh synagogue in Trump's first term, he mentioned that there was money, okay, for houses of worship to have security. And there are. And I have helped at least 4 masjids get grants, okay, to have security, okay, at their masjid. So it's out there, okay, and that's something that everybody can do, or every church can do. It doesn't make any difference. Now, okay, if anybody's got any questions for me or answers, my email is AJMWKL@mac.com. Okay. And Bilal has my information, and so does Brother Salam. So anybody that needs to get a hold of me or has any questions, okay, I don't disagree with anything that she said. Okay, he was right on. Okay, but I do think that we need to know how to protect ourselves. When I say that, okay, and we need to be thinking. That's what we need to be doing. Now, I'm not going to take up any more time, but anybody that wants to call me or get a hold of me or email me, they can. Okay. And right now, I am holding up the class. I'm at the gun range, okay, in Jacksonville. I'm holding up the class because they're waiting for me to finish this call so that we can qualify. So, so I'm going to say my salams unless someone has an immediate question for me. And I plan on being on the rest of the conference calls for this group.
Alhamdulillah. Brother Nazakia, I don't know, but I thank you for sharing a lot of information. And you may not recall, but a few years ago, Imam Muhammad was scheduled to come to our city of St. Petersburg along with 2 other religious leaders for what is called a trialogue. And you was in Jacksonville and handling his security there, so you did come, you and 2 other brothers, that Sunday. And that particular Sunday was a Sunday that history was made. And what I mean for those of us who, sports, football, etc., that was Sunday, the Super Bowl that took place in Miami between 2 African American coaches, Levitt Smith and Tony Dungy. You know, they led their team to the Super Bowl. So I recall that. And also my niece was married, so I was busy, but you did come, and we greatly appreciate that. So thank you again, okay, for what you're doing. And we certainly will have your information, and we definitely will be calling on you for, some additional information on how to best handle our security, especially at our masjids and our centers and our places of worship. Thank you so much.
Okay, and thank you. And I do plan on being more active with this group from this point forward. So whatever I can do to help, somebody let me know.
I would like to add one thing. When you do your the pamphlet or your information packet, can you please include that list of states that reciprocates with Florida?
Can I do it at what?
Include the list of states that are reciprocating with Florida with the gun laws.
Okay, yes. And let me tell you, if you go to the Florida Department of Agriculture has a website. And it has a website for people who repossess cars for licensed crime investigators and for security officers. And they also do concealed weapons. Okay. So now if you go to FDOAC.gov, okay, I think .com also. Okay, you go to the Department of Agriculture Consumer Affairs. Okay, and it lists all those states. But what I can do is, if you email me, I'll send you a list of those states. Okay, I will. Okay, and it's very easy. And it used to be 3 or 4 more, but it's changed a little bit. But you can, if you were going to California, you could get on 10 and drive all the way through Arizona. And when you get to California, you would have to unload your weapon and put it in storage in the car. But all the rest of those states, through Arizona, New Mexico, come back to Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. I just forgot one of them, but all those states reciprocate. So you go all the way to the West Coast almost, with your gun, legally, but what you have to do is, like I say, you have to know that in what the law is in each one of those states. And you can go to a gun store and buy a gun, but you also go online and get the information for free as to what are the restrictions in each state, because they differ slightly, but you need to know them. Because what you do in Florida, if you did something in Mississippi a little bit different, it would be illegal. Okay. But if you know what the restrictions are in Mississippi and you abide by them, you're cool as a cucumber, all like I said, all the way across the land. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go qualify for my firearms, but anybody that needs to get it, Brother Salam has my information, Brother Blau has it, and anybody needs to contact me, and I'll get you whatever information. Most of this information is free. Okay, so I'll get it to you as fast as I can. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our dear brother there. And we definitely want to have you please join us, and make an amendment, because we are always open for information on what you have, because security is very important, that we need to know that. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Yes, Brother Wakil, you can go on and join your group. I just wanted to add something to those remain about the gun itself. The gun is one instrument that produces a lot of fear. And there's something else it do. We call it false courage. Just worrying about the concealed part of the gun is just half of the game. Worrying about being responsible and under control with the gun is another story.
And far more important.
Yeah. And I wanted to share that with you because open carry produced a lot of fear. So much fear that even the ex-offenders, they got a saying, I'd rather be caught with it, Brother Bilal, than to be caught without it. That's because of how much fear that gun produced. And if you're going to carry a gun, you got to know where it is at all times. You can never leave that gun unattended. Because also in Florida, if your child take that gun and hurt itself, you're going to jail.
You're exactly right.
You're going to jail. So just running out, buying a gun may not be the best solution. Sitting down saying what neighborhoods can I go in that I don't need that gun may be your best solution. Because Florida have 10, 20 life laws. If you're an ex-offender and get caught with the gun, you're gonna get 10 years. If you pull the trigger of a gun, you're gonna get 20 years. If you shoot somebody, you're gonna get a life sentence. So all that information you need before you run out and buy a gun. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, I think, Kabina, while we have a couple of more minutes, do you have any closing remarks, an announcement or whatever that needs to be shared before we kind of wrap this up?
The people of Nigeria asked you on that because what could take 15 minutes and we told everything. Now, everybody who never speaks, you got to be heard, right? You know, right. You know, so but let me ask you. So, there's a chief over in the Tampa Bay area. He was speaking, but he was saying that now, if a police officer's off duty and he wants to go to the football game, okay, he can't take his weapon into the stadium. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
That probably has to do something with NFL regulations and everything else.
Okay, all right.
They'll have the ones that they hired, you know, either 1060 work or, you know, Tampa PD has them. They're specifically, they're in uniform, they're clearly visible, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, he's over in the Tampa Bay area too. Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
If you got a guy off duty, plain clothes, yeah, he may have his credentials with him and weapon, but NFL's got a lot of sway.
Okay, yeah.
If they say no,
it's no.
The local PD will back them up.
Yeah.
And that boils down to one thing.
Right.
Yeah. The NFL pumps too much money into everywhere. I've heard the same thing about downtown with the Jags and JSO.
Oh, that's it.
Off duty's not allowed to carry, and it boils down to NFL regs and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right.
So here's the other thing. Off duty cop. You can find him in the bus stop.
Okay.
Uniform cop doing either 10 or 3 JSO. They may be in the bug zone, but they ain't think. My wife knows you said something big.
I think that was just going. I get the conversation. And I appreciate the question, but I think the gentleman in the background who's also hearing.
Walk down from the bug
zone. Answer is backing up the statement that they're the property owners.
Well,
you make the rules for your space, and you'll have to follow it. So he owns the event, and therefore they own what happens in the event, and they can set a million policies and plain clothes.
Everything else.
I don't know if this conversation in the background is relevant, so I'm going to mute my brother just to think of a side discussion. Imam Ali and Imam Abdullah for putting together this conversation. This was a topic that came up as in passing the regularly changing landscape that is Florida and its headlong race to become an uber conservative, with the uber majority on the conservative Republican side, where laws are just rubber stamp because they own all three branches of the government of the state. With awareness, understanding, and then our best defense is a good offense. We know what we need to know. We know what the requirements are. We understand the rules, and then we use that to our benefit. I want to just say that because it's hard to remember this in the moment, but engaging law enforcement, that's the best whole court. It's true, but it's probably in most cases I see here all today is that that's not the time. There's a time and place for everything. And at that moment in time, that doesn't de-escalate. That's why I asked about, what can we do to be mindful of de-escalate and remind our officers, right, on their end, because a lot of times, you know, who knows what kind of day they're having, and they just, and then you're stuck with letting the system decide, and now you're at the mercy of the system, which is not always in our best interest, right? So then the thing that comes to me about recognizing that's not the best for your day in court, let it go on, and then at the tail end, everything's all said and done. You have rights to stand, because then you have rights to get information. And at that point, you can, if it's not that person, you just follow with their body cams. And knowing that it's a new age, right? Because we talked about Minnesota as the example that was raised, and the fallout of that, they can't hide behind, well, this is what we said, he was aggressive, because you have all this video footage from the protesters filming the whole thing, and also the body cam. They have no choice but to realize that, okay, we really they're slowly getting out of Minnesota. They're turning down the temperature in Minnesota. It's a gross failure at the end of the day because of the fact it's not 1960s, it's not 1960. You're not talking for it's a slightly, I'm not saying it's completely different, but it's slightly different where there are tools and our benefits that we actually have to get justice. It's good and it's just fun for everybody else. It's fun for everybody. I just want to appreciate this that did come up, want to bring to your attention was the notification. So this was the conversation we were having about what we should do if you want to be concerned about guns and weapons, you have posted notifications. That does not apply to your security who you hired or arranged or brought on to secure your property. They are extension of your property. So that applies to everybody else outside in. The other thing that he mentioned was, I think the brother mentioned about the laws, so they talk about reciprocation. So law, to a certain extent that exists. If you're going to carry, you need to know the laws of where you're going. Because ignorance of the law doesn't just keep that in mind. The bottom line is that the police chief always mentioned was that all the rules for concealed carry apply for open carry. It also includes behavioral norms. Easy with a gun, those rules and you become a threat and you become open for interpretation on the law enforcement. The gentleman actually got off of him, but yeah, it's a different story. So I'm with a bit of caution, but I just, you know, as we share this knowledge beyond ourselves, just, you know, being direct about that point as well. But let's see. I'm just before you close out, just want to also thank Abdul Salam for working with myself and brother Imam Bilal to put this event together. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Just one note because you don't have to let everyone on your premise. Uniform officers is a different story, but everybody else. You tell them, and then the posted, they refuse to comply. They use a property owner or representative property owner. Armed trespass. That's not a light charge. I mean, that's not like a person with. You don't have the whole court there. You just simply like to call law enforcement, take your case, and then let them handle it. And if someone refuses to cooperate, how many times you seen a person who actually quote unquote went in and going to jail? Some point in time, they're the ones that actually breaking the law. Just, let them figure it out. Let them handle justice system for a change, if you will. We don't always have to get into it. So on that note, we'll close up with you all for your the United Tally. It is important for us to share across all be on the same page, and then feel free to share what you hear with others so that they themselves, like I have young nephews, I need to make sure that they understand. this topic because how we get caught up in ignorance of the law is not an excuse, not a hall pass. So thank you again for these topics. And so next month we're having Mount Hoffman. In March, since we'll be in Ramadan, he asked the time to kind of have us to all coordinate with him to make sure that he's good to go for that. And then me and Mark will be a few months or two, maybe a few weeks into Ramadan itself. And so we'll have a call, the first Sunday call. I made you a brief call, but we'll have a call nonetheless so that we can stay on track.
Okay.
So, Mark, if the iftar dinner, in St. Pete. So, if those who like to come, I would urge you to go ahead and register to come. The in your citywide iftar dinner in the city of St. Pete, March 10th. Thank you.
Thank you for that reminder. Well, الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق. Have a wonderful, productive day.
Alaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And that is it, everyone. That was the Florida Conference of Muslim Americans, our United Ta'aleem here on American Muslim 360. I'm Martha Nailah Wms Abdullah, your host for today. And please plan to join us at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for contemplations of Imam Warthi Muhammad. Mercy of Almighty God be upon him, with Imam Kareem Hamid and Imam Michael Hameen, as they read from the Ramadan sessions. Then that's 5 to 7 p.m. Then from 8 to 10 or even longer, we'll be here on American Muslim 360 for the Muslim Journal, reading of the Muslim Journal. And the title of the show is Al-Amal Hasana. Al-Amal Hasana. And that is good works, good deeds. And that's with our host, Dr. Carolyn Sharifa Muhammad Sharif. Please plan to join us well into the night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until finish. And that will be somewhere 10 or after 10. So while you're here with us, praise be to Almighty God. And just remember, the #1 Islamic Broadcasting Network here in the nation, where your intellect is respected and your voice protected. American Muslim 360. CEO, Khalida Akbar. Program Manager, Munira Habil Umar. Station Manager, Imam Kareem Hamid. Quality Assurance, Imam Abdul Hafiz Shahid. Advisor and Recognition, Imam Fleming El-Amin. And along with Edward Willis and William Kareem. That's the team of the American Muslim 360. Assalamu alaikum.